Very good afternoon, sir. I'm
Good afternoon.
Shailesh from Business Connect magazine. Welcome to that special interview session with Business Connect. Since you are a dynamic personality, so my first question to you is how do you see your own persona overall and how would you like to clarify yourself, whether as an engineer, as an author, a poet, or a motivational speaker?
I think I have done bits of everything and I keep on doing bits of everything. So I cannot say that I'm an engineer only or an author only or a poet only or a motivational speaker only. I think I'm a combination of all these and many more things because any human being carries multiple identity traits and I'm no different from any other human being. And I keep interest in a lot of interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary subjects and things and issues of concern. So I think I'm more or less a very curious person. That is how I can be defined in very broad and generic term. Yes. Uh, but apart from the capability of writing and understanding the world and the universe through civil engineering technology, I don't think I have any other talent except that I keep interest in reading, I keep interest in watching movies, international TV series, theater, all sorts of performing arts, and of course, listening to music. And I also take keen interest in traveling because of the last 2 years lost due to COVID pandemic. I could not travel as much as I wanted to travel, but I hope from this year I should be able to travel.
When did you first realize you wanted to be a writer? And what was the inspiration behind?
You know, since the age of 14, I have been maintaining my daily journals, and I maintain that even today. Now, these daily journals contain many things: incidents of the day, thoughts, ideas, and many other things that inspire me, including book reviews, music piece reviews, uh, movie reviews, international TV series reviews, and so many other things. I think in 1986, when I was a sort of a budding poet, my mother gave me a gift of rupees 200 and I thought of publishing a book. So, my first book, so to say, was an anthology of 21 English poems, and the book was titled Pain. It was published in 1986 by me, in fact. Without that gift, I would not have been able to publish. And we published, if I remember correctly, 250 copies of the book, and the book sold like hotcake in Jadavpur University, Presidency College, and St. Xavier's College in Calcutta at that point in time. And it became a hit with the academia of Calcutta also. Why it became a hit, I really don't know today because when I read some of the poems of that time, I find them to be very, very ill constructed. And thereafter, when I joined the corporate sector, I was writing on and off, frankly. Sometimes in English, sometimes in Bengali. Between 2002 and 2005, I was a oral storyteller. I would be telling stories to my friends, family, relatives, and colleagues. Somebody in 2005 late told me that I should not be wasting my energy and time in telling stories. Rather, I should be writing them. But I did not have the enough, I would say, the guts inside me or the motivation inside me to be able to write. It was in the middle of June or July 2007 when I felt I was bursting with something to write inside me, as if I did not write, I would die. And that was the time I started writing very seriously. I was looking for a traditional publisher. The search took me 3 years. And then I became a serious author, so to say. Yeah. And thereafter, I've been writing continuously. I've produced eight literary works of fiction, including various genres. I've written three technical books, and now I'm writing my new novel. It's a new kind of a novel, yes.
Uh, Name one book that drove you very emotional, and
Well,
do such scenarios inspire your writing?
well, so to say, I'm not a very emotional person, frankly. I'm I'm not very much driven by emotions. What I'm more driven by is condition of people, condition of the times that we are living in. Rather, I would say the contemporarity of our life. I'm more driven by that. Uh, if I have to name one book which I would recommend to people to uh, start with my kind of books, I think, well, for that matter, I can suggest any of my books, but I can suggest which is very crisp and very fast. It's a thriller, which is Abyss. It's a play. Abyss is one of the books which some people say I am at my best. Some people say Winter Poems is one of my best works. But yes, Abyss could be one of the books where, uh, you know, uh, where I can say that people will love reading the book and people may uh, start taking interest in my works, in my other works as well, if they read this book.
So, what are the most challenging factors in publishing industry as you have as you're watching it for last 10 years, more than 10 years? So, what are the challenges there, and how do you stay on the top of the indices?
Well, one of the things I would say is, with time, today self publishing is one of the options that authors are trying. In my time, of course, I was not so keen on self publishing my book. And it was not the fad also in 2007, 8, 9. Self publishing had not caught on that much energy at that time. What I find today is young writers and authors are more interested in publishing their books immediately after writing a book. That's not something which I have done myself. I have given a lot of time to my books to be read by my friends, by my family, relatives, take their inputs, take their, creative inputs, take their comments, suggestions, observations. Well, some of which I have discarded, some of which I did not listen to, but some of which certainly which I did. And I would say one of the things I have learned is I worked with some of the brilliant editors of India. And one of the editors, my very close friend, Sita Bhaskar, I have learned a lot from them. Learned a lot about the technique and the craft of writing. So I think over the years, I have learned a lot from the editorial teams of traditional publishing, and as well as I have learned the tricks of how to give a layout to a book, how to do imaging of how to do imaging of to the cover of a book. But yes, the publishing industry is changing because the publishing industry doesn't want to invest much in marketing of uh, a book. But today marketing is a very big factor to be able to reach to the masses because of the English literacy, the increasing English literacy in the Indian market. Everybody wants to be a writer in English. Everybody thinks they can read English books. So uh, I think to be able to survive in this market, content has to be the king. I still feel you may
Yes.
be published, you may invest a lot of money in marketing, but if you do not have good quality content, I don't think you will be able to survive for a very long time. That is point number A. And the point number B is self publishing, I think, over the years is killing the art of writing a lot because the you see, I always tell that there is a difference between writers and authors. A writer is a writer who writes, right? An author derives itself from the Latin word auteur. Auteur means to suffer. Author is a person who suffers and then writes. Okay, so author is a combination of the word or the phenomenon writing and suffering. So authors will have to suffer a lot, rejection, criticism, because they are ahead of their times. Not everybody is an author. So today, if you get self-published at the drop of a hat, just because you have some money at your disposal, you don't introspect, self-doubt your own work much that you should be doing. So I think uh, the quickness of self-publishing is killing the art of writing slowly, and there are too many writers because of which uh, I think at times the good writers are also not getting the right kind of market today.
It was a very nice, very nicely differentiated between the difference of author and writer. That was so good.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, I have taken it personally for myself only.
Okay, thank you.
Much. Do you think digital and social platforms are beneficial for authors and writers?
Well, they are in a way that they help you to reach the audience, the right kind of audience, uh, a bit more than what you would be otherwise doing, for the simple fact that everybody is invested in social media in today's times, and even the media industry is picking up stories from Twitter. All right. So, I mean, a reporter doesn't want to go to the site or the field to pick up stories, but they pick up stories from the Twitter, which I think is a sad thing to happen today. In that sense, truly, social media is very important. Every author worth its name pursued social media. My publisher has also invested in all kinds of social media handles that are available in the market today: Facebook page, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and so on and so forth. But having said that, I must tell you, content is king. If you do not have the right kind of content, whatever you might do, you would not be able to engage your
See,
audience.
you said the same thing. The differentiation, the suffering and writing is called a good author.
Yeah,
And that's in the same way, if, earlier people used to go in the field for any kind of reporting. Basically,
yes,
you have to
yes,
go to the field. That is separate.
yes.
And here you are getting all the content from digital media, and you are writing a story.
True,
Both are
true.
very different.
Very different, very different.
So, what kind of research you do before writing a new book?
Well, normally I would say I do research on the subjects that I write. Let us say, like the kind of characterization that my characters would undergo, the research related to locations, the research related to the times in which the plot is set, uh, and so on and so forth. And if I'm writing, of course, on some new idea or ideas or philosophies or history, then I do have to research a lot on those ideas and philosophies and the various kinds of other things that are involved in my book. I can tell you uh, one of the instances, like there was a three-page piece on Marxism in my book, in my fifth book, Random Subterranean Mosaic. While it was a three-page uh, piece on Marxian thought, but my lifetime research on what can I say, on Marxian thought was reflected in those 3 pages. And later, when I was in a book reading session in Delhi, one of the associate professors of JNU remarked that this is something which is the latest work on Marxian thought that is undergoing in Europe today. European social thought laboratories. While I was not much aware of that, but I take pleasure in uh, the thought that, well, I did approach the subject authentically and honestly, because of which possibly I could connect intuitively with the people who are researching on this subject miles away from me, and without knowing that even. Then I'll give you an example. My sixth book, Etchings of the First Quarter of 2020, uh, contains a novella which is titled Duality. Now, that is a novella not on characters, on ideas. So each idea represents a character in that novella, and the ideas move like characters in a given plot in the conversation of a stepfather and his daughter. So I had to research a lot on those ideas because a lot of classics were discussed in that, a lot of thoughts and ideas and philosophies were discussed in that. So I think this kind of research I do for my books. Yes.
So, as you said, that COVID-19, you could not travel, you cannot do all your things what you wanted to do at that time. So we are passing through a COVID-19 pandemic situation, bit less or more right now also. Since last almost 2 years, which affected all economy and market also. Also the whole trade all over the world. What was the impact on the organization and overall trade for the current scenario and future from you?
Well, I can tell you, you see, in the first lockdown that started in March 2020, our factory was closed down for the period of the lockdown, a major portion of the lockdown period. You see, productivity was hampered in a major way. Logistical support was hampered in a major way. I mean, losing production means losing revenue for the company. We passed through a very difficult time. But for us, since we supply to the environmental market, and the present government at the center has put most focus on the environmental sector with its flagship programs like Jal Jeevan Mission Rural and Amrut 2.0, demand was never a concern for us. But what happened was losing productivity and giving into a very adverse logistical environment. But once the lockdown was over and we started producing, we reached 90% efficiency of the plant in the fastest possible manner in the metallurgical industry. That is because of the synergy of the very good and robust workforce, the middle management, and the senior management. And mind you, we did not retrench a single soul in the company. Yearly increments and promotions were on, although initially there were a few pay cuts. The highest pay cut was taken by the senior management. So there was a very, very supportive environment all through, because of which we bounced back very fast. And also, I have to say this, that the demand in the market was never a concern for us. But the other sectors, where the demand was a concern, I think got affected very badly. The hospitality industry, the civil aviation industry, and various other industries associated with civil aviation and the hospitality industry, and many other industries, small, big, and medium. And I think the brunt of the COVID was faced by the poor people, the migrant laborers. So, and we know the history of the migrant laborers quite well today, because initially there was a movement from the rural settlements to the urban settlements in search of a job. Thereafter, there was a retro migration from the urban settlements to the rural settlements because they had no work to do at the urban settlements. And once again, they had to migrate from their rural settlements to the urban settlements in search of a job. Now, this costs money, this costs suffering, this costs pain, causes pain. So, what I'm trying to say is that, COVID 19, in more ways than one, taught us many lessons. India became more digital, but it created, apart from class and caste, another kind of a divide, which is the digital divide. Like a few people who have access to the digital world, and a plethora of people who do not have access to anything that is digital. So I think uh, the context of India in COVID 19 is very different from the context of America in COVID 19, because we are a poor country at the end of the day. We are a class and caste ridden society. And to add to it, we have a great, great digital divide today. The present dispensation at the center is trying its heart and soul to propagate a digital economy, to migrate to a digital economy, quite forgetting the fact that India is a majorly poor country, a majority of which does not have access to the digital world. Yeah, so this is what I had to say about this.
Let's come to the next question. You're a TEDx speaker. How does your experience in quality as an author, traveler, and a natural speaker make you a better thought leader?
Well, I think, language, both written and verbal, is key to leadership. Because if you cannot articulate well in writing and orally, you cannot uh, entrap the minds of the people you are working with. So I think uh, I don't know how good a speaker I am, but because I have read a lot, I've listened to music a lot, I've watched many movies, world movies. I've watched international TV series. I'm interested in all kinds of performing arts. Uh, I'm interested in interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary learning, because of which I can have a chit chat or a conversation with any kind of a person. Now, that makes me a bit interesting compared to others, uh, to be able to connect and be relatable to people easily, lucidly, and authentically. And that could be the magic charm behind my being a thought leader. Yes.
That's good. May I ask? May I ask one thing? What has been your crowning jewel so far?
No, 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 no. I don't think.
Please throw some light.
No, I
A
don't
bit.
think. No, I don't think there has been anything. You see, I have been much awarded, much lauded. My books have become bestsellers. They have been critically acclaimed. Um, the India, the Indian and the foreign media has taken a lot of interest in me, but I still don't feel having achieved a lot. A real achievement is when your reader comes to you and tells you that these lines of your book I've been able to relate to my life. When I receive that kind of a response through emails or conversations or WhatsApp, I think then I feel that it was worth writing a book. So I don't think much about crowning jewel or achievement. What I take great pride in is to be able to be relatable with my readers. That's what I feel.
How do you plan such a busy schedule to complete all this as a whole?
I think to start with, my mother uh, has had two deep influences on me. One is she taught me Bengali and English grammar, and one of the things she taught me was method, how to approach work, problems of life, how to externalize your schedules in a day, in a week, in a month. I think because of my mother's training and her genes in me, I have been able to be very methodical in life, which results in a proper and a better and an accurate time management. And also, I have the support of my employers and my family, without whose seamless support, uh, I could not have been able to achieve what I have been able to achieve today.
What is next in line for Mr. Sabarna Roy?
First of all, I would like to correct you that I'm not Shuborno, I'm Shaborno.
Sabarna, sorry.
Yeah.
But
So
the spell is SU.
it is actually, it should be SA. So, having said that, the next in line is an um, epistolary novel that I'm writing with my co-author Sita Bhaskar. Epistolary novel is basically a novel which is written through letters. Now, Sita Bhaskar is my friend and my editor of my last four books. In fact, my latest book is dedicated to Sita Bhaskar, a marriage, an affair, and a friendship. And this book, this ninth book of mine, this epistolary novel, is based on a ballad that I had written in 2009 titled Tara, which was incorporated in my first book, Pentacles. Tara is about two characters, Tara and Sandy, who are high school mates, who meet each other at the Delhi airport after 26 years having left their school. And they talk fleetingly at the Delhi airport, and then they reach for their destinations, one to Kolkata and the other to Pondicherry. After 13 years having crossed the COVID-19 pandemic, Sandy starts writing to Tara, and Tara, after a gap, starts writing to Sandy. What happens after that is told in the novel Tara and Sandy, Slow Dance of the Infinite Stars.
It would please say about some more achievements you are proud of.
Well, if I have to say about my achievements, I have.
Which you feel as an achievement.
Yeah, I think I'll have to tell about my children because I've been a mentor to them. They have had good educational careers, and they are working satisfactorily in life. They're settled. I'm happy. I don't think any of my own achievements matter much. But if you see that your children are safe and happy and healthy, I think that is the greatest achievement in life.
That's good. And it would be great if you share a quote for the readers, for the audience.
Well, this is a calendar.
Or a small memoir.
Well, this is a calendar which one of my fans has made for me with my quotations. I will read the quotation for the month of April 2022 from this calendar. For you had told me once, I will blow up my life, indoctrinating me with the scent of your body and introducing me to the nucleus of this explosive club, Death Rattle Clan. Thank you.
So it was a nice session with Mr. Sabarna Roy, the Senior Vice President of a reputed industrial group, that is Electrosteel Group.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.